Hi, I'm Derek Fields. I'm the Atlassian Practice Manager for RightStar Systems. RightStar is an Atlassian Platinum partner focusing on the implementation of Atlassian tools with a special focus on DevOps. This is the fourth in 4 videos that talks about how your organization may be able to utilize Atlassian tools to improve your DevOps maturity. But to take a step back and reiterate some of the themes that we've been covering over these 4 videos, I want to start by reinforcing the idea that DevOps starts with your people. It is not primarily based on the tools that you use, but on the culture that you've developed, where each of the people in your organization is working collaboratively with trust in each other, that they are communicating, and that they are implementing the DevOps vision that your organization wants to achieve. We also want to know that you have processes that are going to help you to implement your DevOps vision. These are processes that will help each of your people implement their tasks, deliver on their requirements efficiently and effectively. Now, in this particular video, we're going to focus on the continuous integration, continuous deployment part of DevOps. This should be the fastest part of your DevOps cycle. Once you have planned out the requirements, determined what you're trying to achieve, and built the code, you should be able to actually do the final building, testing, and deployment very quickly. And that's what we want to show you today. Now let's go back and remind ourselves what are the steps in a DevOps cycle. In a DevOps cycle, you can see in our video that we start with planning. We then move on to the building, and in this case what we mean is the actual writing of the source code, the implementation of test cases, and so on that are part of the implementation portion. Today we're going to focus on the continuous integration, which is going to be supported by Bitbucket and by Bamboo. These are the 2 tools that are going to allow us to quickly build, that is to say, the compilation, running the test cases, and packaging our software so that it can be deployed. And then we're going to use Bamboo to actually go ahead and deploy that code. And what you're going to see are going to be processes that operate very quickly, but I want to take a step back and show you the elements that go into actually accomplishing this. So let's go ahead and take a look, first of all, at Bamboo. So this is what a Bamboo run looks like, but let's go ahead and look at the job. Now what is Bamboo? Bamboo is an orchestrator. Bamboo is where we're going to indicate how do we actually build out the software that we're trying to deliver. So what I've got in this particular plan is a very, very simple build plan in which I'm going to show you the configuration. It consists of 1 stage, which has a default job, and in that job we just have some very simple tasks that we've set up in order to deliver our code. We check out the code from our Git repository. Remember in our last video, we talked about how we use Git as the basis for our source code control. Now every time we want to build our software, we want to make sure we are pulling that software from our version control system. This means we are getting a known set of code, not code that may be coming off of somebody's private server or their local directory, but a known set of code that we can go back and replicate at any time along the way. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to run a tidy against the HTML. And these are somewhat contrived, but to give you a sense of how this works. What this will do is to tell us whether any of our HTML code does not have proper formatting. And in this particular case, we're going to prevent going forward until we have fixed those problems. We're going to do the same thing with our Python code. We're going to run pylint, and again, we're going to report out whether we've got any code that does not meet our quality requirements with respect to Python. And then finally, we're going to run some test cases that we've written against this. Now, if it passes all the way through from beginning to end, we're going to get a nice green check mark. And you can see up at the top, we've done this a couple of times, but recently our build has been failing. We're going to go ahead and run this and see where it fails, and then we're going to fix it and show how we can use this to continuously build out and test our code. So let's go ahead and do exactly that. Now, the way I've got Bamboo set up, it is actually linked into our repository. It's linked into Bitbucket. So we're going to go and look at we're going to look at what failed the last time. So let's go ahead and open this up. We're going to see our log. And what this tells me is that the last time I ran this, I seem to have gotten some errors. Let's look and see a little bit more closely. I've actually got errors that are associated with my tidy code. That is to say my HTML code. And what I'm looking at is it's telling me that it failed because I am missing I'm missing actually a doc in the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add that back in. So let's go ahead and open up my HTML. We're going to go ahead and grab that code that I need because tidy tells me what it is right here. I copy that. I'm going to paste it right into the top. And I also happen to know at the very end of this, happen to be missing my body statement. So let's go ahead and put that back in, and this should fix our problem. Now, one of the beauties of this is that now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and commit it, fixed the HTML code. I'm going to go ahead and push it. That means I'm putting it back up into the repository. And by doing that, it automatically then will trigger a new build. So let's go back and look at this. As you can see, it is now running a new build. In fact, I'm going to make this a little bit larger so we can see it more easily in our screen. I'm now running a new build. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It's going to show me the log. And it tells me, oh, this build also failed. But why did it fail? Well, now it's failing because I am still missing certain information. In this case, I'm missing my testing. Let's go ahead and look at our log again. And it tells me that this all passed. It tries to execute. It rated my code. That's 10 out of 10, so that's a success. And now we're going to go through and we're going to look and see that my test cases have failed because I am not able to actually connect to my test system. So we're going to go ahead and start up my test system. Which is right here. Go in my bin directory. And now my test system is actually running. And so now if I go ahead and run the build, which I can do manually, which I'm going to come back here and do. I'm going to run it again, and now it should pass because it's going to be able to see that that test system is running. The code that I have tried to use now succeeds, and as you can see, it's now all green. Everything has passed through, and that's what we want to see. So you can see how quickly that ran. From the time I committed the code to the time it actually told me that it succeeded, it ran extremely quickly, and it was all automatic. And that's really the key. Your test organization and your operations organization, as well as your developers, should be focused in this section on how do we automate absolutely everything that can be automated. That is to say, the build. So that could be running Maven or Ant code in order to build out Java, or C++. It may be test cases that are going to be automated, and certainly, and we're going to see this right now, the deployment. So now that I've got a passing build, in Bamboo, I have defined a deployment for this particular software. Now this deployment, I can indicate different environments where I want it to be deployed. In this case, I've got one that has been defined. This is my UAT environment, and I'm going to go ahead and say I am ready now for this one to be released. I click on deploy. It's now going to run it. I'm going to say let's create a new release because I want to release something that has been changed. It's now going to renumber it for me, and it's going to be based upon the last successful build that I did. I start the deployment, and now what should happen is it successfully deployed it into my UAT environment, and now I should be able to go ahead and test this code to see that it works. So now I'm going to bring up the code that we have developed. As you can see, it's very simple and code. I now have a list of various people in it. I can go ahead and bring them all up, and you know what? This is not working quite the way we had expected. As you can see, I've got various errors in here. So now what I can do, because I have now seen that what the code that I have delivered is not quite right, I can go back into my source code. I can look here in my Bitbucket, which will allow me to see the source code associated with this particular release. We're going to go to the master branch. We're going to scroll down right into the rest code and see what's being delivered. And here's my REST code. And what I could do then is go in here and quickly make a change, run the tests, deliver it and deploy it, and have everything running up to date. So let's go ahead and do that quick change. Okay, so now we've fixed the code. We've addressed all of our build problems. We have deployed it, and we've got new builds going through. And just to show you that it is all working, we're going to go ahead and click here, and as you can see, we've got the information, we've got the data that we wanted. So now our report is done, and we are ready to go back and deploy it, which we've already done into our UAT. We could go back if we wanted to then and look at our build report and see everything that went on. But let's take one last look because Bamboo also integrates with Jira. And so we can see right here that I've got not only the branch, commit, and pull requests that we saw in the last video having to do with Bitbucket, but now I've also got a build succeeded. So this tells me that for this particular ticket, I've now got a successful build against it. And if I clicked in, I could see all the information about that successful build also right within Bamboo. So this is an indication of how Jira, Bitbucket, Bamboo, and Confluence are all tightly integrated to give you an end-to-end DevOps flow. And as we said a little bit earlier, this is where you want your test engineers, your security engineers, and your operations techs to be spending their time developing that automated process that will allow Bamboo as the orchestrator to be able to take the code from the moment it is committed and immediately run it through the entire process. That should be fast, it should be automatic, because then your developers can spend their time making sure that everything works, and they will have much more time then to also spend on developing new code for you. Highly mature DevOps organizations are automating 90 and even up to 100% of all of their deployment using an orchestration tool like Bamboo to make this seamless and efficient for their development operations. So I hope that you've enjoyed the 4 videos that we've produced for you, talking about how DevOps and the Atlassian toolset can help your organization to build a much more mature, efficient, and effective development lifecycle. Thank you very much for watching these videos. Again, my name is Derek Fields, and I'm with Wrightstar Systems. If you would like to contact us, you have information on our website, our phone number, and of course, our email address. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.